Reddit, tell me your glitch in the Matrix stories. I'm talking weird occurrences, coincidences you haven't been able to easily explain. I'll start. We have a breakfast laid on at work every morning. Just a simple buffet of eggs, bacon, what have you. Nothing huge, and it's really only to feed about a dozen people or so. I'm usually one of the first guys from my team to get to work, and the kitchen was deserted as usual. I walked into the little kitchen. There was a ceramic egg tray thing with 12 eggs in it, like the bottom half of an egg carton with a socket for each egg. All spaces are filled with warm, freshly boiled eggs. I take one, walk over to the garbage bin, shut the shell, then I walk back over to the food and stop dead. There are 12 eggs in the tray again. No one entered the room. While I was peeling the thing, I touched the mystery egg. It was the same temp as the other eggs around it. Not a big thing, nothing major, but something very strange. Given one does not get presented with strange eggs from a parallel universe every day, I peeled and ate that one too. TL. Doctor, found strange quantum egg at breakfast. Ate it. Did not gain superpowers. Edit. Holy crap. You magnificent bastards. We are on the front page. Your stories are wonderful, uplifting, and truly freaky in equal measure. But it's nice to know other people notice shit like this too. Redditor One Hope. Link was kind enough to start a subreddit for this topic. Link, so feel free to drop in and share your experiences. Deleted. This will probably get buried. When I was around 20, a few years ago, I kept having dreams about a woman with long black hair named Aurora, pronounced Aurora. They were different dreams, but for some reason, her distinct face and name always ended up in them. It got to the point where I would wake up frustrated and confused, trying to Google her name or find out how I was connected to her. After a few months she stopped showing up, and I dismissed it, thinking my brain was just being a scumbag. Fast forward a few years later, Halloween 2009. I'm in the car with a friend, stopped at a gas station. I'm about to pull out and merge onto a highway when I get a phone call from a random number. So I stopped the car, but no one answered. There was a person behind me who grew impatient, honked at me, and then swerved in front of me instead of waiting for 2 seconds for me to move. Second they get on the highway, some silver Civic loses control of their wheel and crashes into the car that swerved in front of me. I called the cops and waited at the gas station for them to come. Turns out the drivers of both cars died. It 100% would have been me if I hadn't have got that phone call. Called it back a few hours later out of gratitude and curiosity. Rang 3 times and went to voicemail. Hi, you've reached Aurora. Please leave your name and number. Never had goosebumps like that in me life. Called it again the next day because I was that confused about the whole situation. Some woman answers. We get to talking. I tell her my entire story including the dreams I had. She tells me she doesn't know how I got her number and that she never called me as far as she remembers. Weird. Ask her if she has a Facebook to confirm if she is in fact the woman in my dreams. Check her Facebook. Holy duck. It's her. If that's not a glitch in the Matrix, then I'm just batshit crazy. You didn't marry her? I've related this story before, but here goes. The parallel universe answering machine. This happened about 15 years ago. I called my friend up and he wasn't home, so I left a message on his answering machine. I said, "Hey, it's me, Killer Extremists. Sorry I missed you. Call you later. Bye." And then I hung up and left the house. I made no other calls. Later that day he called back and he says, "Wow, that was quite a message you left. Who was that girl you were talking to?" I was like, "What are you talking about? I wasn't talking to any girl." Well, as it turns out the message didn't end after I said bye. I had to go over to his house and listen to this message a few times. After my initial message that I did leave, as quoted above, there was a slight pause, and it continues on for another 30 to 40 seconds or so with me talking to some girl. It was my voice, but a conversation I never had with a girl whose voice I didn't recognize. You could compare it to the message I know I did leave, and the two voices were indistinguishable. Not just the voice, but, you know, talking mannerisms. It was my voice. Also, references to my occupation and activities were the same. Basically, in this conversation I was talking to this girl about going skiing, but I had to go down to my shop and work on a car first, which totally correlated to me. Then the message just stopped. It was recorded on one of those digital answering machines that recorded the message to a chip, so there was no tape I could have taken and had analyzed. Unfortunately. Also, neither I nor my friend had party lines, so that's not an explanation. It was very freaky. I can't explain it. TL. Doctor, I may have connected to an alternate universe through a telephone answering machine. As I was reading this, the lights went out in my room. It's definitely because I barely plugged in my lamp. But still freaked me right the duck out. This is a creepy thread, man. Driving home on a storm day, I see that a side road up to the local golf course is blocked off by flashing barricades. I also spy a Mercedes parked past the barricades with its hazards on. I stop and walk up to the car to see if they need help. I'm an EMT. I shine my light in the back seat to see a man slumped over, apparently asleep. Thinking I've got a few drunks, I move up to the driver window and rap on the glass and shine my light in. The driver is sitting bolt upright, unmoving, staring straight ahead. My window rapping or light doesn't cause him to blink, flinch or move. I look over and the passenger is slumped forward onto the dash. This begins to creep me out. I call down to the sheriff station and request a code 2, no lights/sirens, unit up to my location to help me check them out. Doors are locked. While on the phone I walk back to my truck to get my go bag. As I'm on the phone with dispatch, she asks me to get a license number for the car. Just as a PG&E power company cherry picker truck comes rumbling down from up the closed road, I move to go around the truck to get the plate number, and the car is gone. I talked to the driver of the truck, and he said there was a 80-foot tree down across the road, and that he didn't think it'd be open for a day or so. So the question is, the hell did the car go? Tree up one way, barricades down the other. It's kept me a bit unsettled when stopping at accident/hazard since then. Edit. Here is the intersection via Google Maps link. Google.com/maps. Q equals BRANCIFORTE plus AVE plus SANTA plus CRUZ plus CA and HL equals EN and LL equals 36. 991,715. Minus 122. 007856 and SPN equals 0. 0000666. 0. 001032 and HNEAR equals N plus BRANCIFORTE plus AVE plus SANTA plus CRUZ plus CALIFORNIANT equals H and Z equals 21 and VPSRC equals 6 and LAYER equals C and CBLL equals 36. 991,669. Minus 122. 00792 and PANOID equals 91XHGWZ4ZQPQNM7PFN1XG and CBP equals 12. 2. 93. 0. 1. 87. Barricades were 5 feet in front of the camera and the tree was up around the distant bend. I can't help but imagine you as a small, throwaway character in some fantasy novel. The guy who checks to see if the main characters are okay, and then as he turns around they continue to be abducted or whatever it may be. I feel like I'm reading that sort of story from the perspective of a small character. It's cool. This happened to me in 3rd grade, and it scared me so much I started crying and had to go to the office to talk to the principal about it. I was in the hallway for misbehaving, and my neighbor Tad, a year younger than me, came walking out of a class to my right, passed in front of me, and headed down some stairs. We said hi to each other. About 20 seconds later, he walked out of the same class, passed in front of me, and headed down the stairs. I just stared at him, confused and afraid. And he looked back like, why the F are you looking at me like that? I never realized how much it was like Matrix deja vu. Edit. I thought of a second example of this, and as long as this thread is so popular, I may as well share it. A few years after this incident, my sister and I were hanging in the living room, watching TV. We both saw our mom walk through the other room, and through the adjacent hall. Maybe 20 minutes later, she came in from the backyard. My sister and I looked at each other confused and asked her how she got back outside. She didn't know what we were talking about. She had been outside for hours. No one else was home, of course. Second, Tad sounds like kind of a dick. You should stick with Tab Prime. At 12 years of age, my mom let me stay in the truck as she went grocery shopping. As I wait, I see an old guy walking towards the truck with an indescribable look at me, as if I know too much. He stops 5 feet from the truck, looks at me for a couple seconds and heads back the exact way he came. It was rather traumatic for some reason and very confusing at that age. 5 to 6 years later, my dad was showing me home videos of us at Yellowstone. At Old Faithful, I noticed the same guy, same look, same clothes peering at us on camera and at me through the TV. I'm freaked out just telling this. Edit. I didn't expect this story to be such a hit. A few more details. The Yellowstone video was from when I was very young. I'm thinking 1 or 2 years of age. I was in an awesome baby pack on my dad's back. Also, I will try my hardest to find the video. I don't see my parents often, and if I do, I don't think either of them will know where our home videos are. Divorce can be a messy and destructive thing. If I do find it, I will definitely post the video and message you all. It's you from the future. Every single story in this thread can be explained by time travel. Only possible conclusion: our future selves are all dicks. At a friend's place back in 2008, when we were all teenagers, we had a cool shed at a friend's that we'd hang out in every weekend. It had 4 sets of bunk beds, tables, a fireplace, TV, fridge, etc. The whole lot. One night we were all hanging out in there when I decided I needed a piss. I walked out the front door of the shed and started to walk to the right when I stopped. Now let me explain the layout here. As you walk out of the shed, his house is to the left, and to the right is where we all parked our cars. Further out you're left with empty fields and trees. It was dark by now, the lights from the house illuminating the space between the house and our cars, but trailing off just past them. As I took a step to the right, intending to go behind the cars to relieve myself, I saw my friend's older brother standing there. I watched him for a good 5 to 10 seconds as he stood there, facing into the darkness. He then proceeded to walk behind a couple trees and a car before he disappeared. Confused, I walked back into the shed and asked my friend what his brother was doing by the cars. The conversation went as follows. Me: hey man, what's your brother doing by the cars? Him: what do you mean? Me: he just walked off behind the cars. Brother: I'm right here. I looked over and there his brother was, sitting down on one of the chairs with a drink. He was wearing the exact same clothes as I saw him in, and the only way to get into the shed was through the door that I was standing in the way of. To this day, I've no idea how it all happened. I'm guessing I was just seeing things. But the fact that I watched him walk around for a good 10 seconds has always puzzled me. I've never had anything else like that happen. I have had almost the exact same experience. When I was younger, we had a gigantic Brittany Spaniel. Ruffy was a pretty wild dog and a horrible chewer, so he spent most of the warm months outside on a lead at the top of the yard house on the side of the mountain. My brother and I were responsible for bringing him fresh food and water daily, and we often made the chore a race as brothers are ought to do. One particular day, I was taking his water up, which was always the slower job to do. As I was pouring it into the emptied bowl, I looked down the yard to see my brother bringing the food up the walk. I taunted him that I was going to beat him back down to the house, and continued to watch him walk up until he drifted a bit to the right after stepping off the end of the walk and disappeared behind the giant bush beside Ruffy's run. I stayed there petting the dog, tossing occasional glances to the left to see if he came around the hard way, but watching for him to come around into view to get some extra gloating in. After about 10 minutes, I gave up, confused, and went back down to the house. My brother was in the kitchen talking with my mom, and both gave me confused looks when I asked how and why he had managed to get all the way back down to the house without me seeing him. He hadn't gone outside yet. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.